SBA. So.
Hello. Good. Sync mags, green, green. Alright, green, green. Alright, go.
What's going on, gents? Today, we're going to be going over what's in a Marine's fighting load. All right, this is a term you guys might have heard thrown around, either assault load, fighting load, whatever. There's actually a standard on what this is and what's in it. You can find this in NavMac 3544 Delta. It's the Infantry T&R manual and Appendix Echo. All right, this is going to give you exactly what is in your fighting load, how much it weighs, and the specifics on that. So when people are like, hey, we're going to do a forced march or a ruck with your fighting load, assault load, your forced march load, or sustainment load, you know what's in it, okay? All right, just the objective of this video is just so Marines know where to find the fighting load and the standard for that, and also just a brief overview of what's in it, and maybe how to wear some of the stuff, because maybe you're not used to wearing this gear. All right, guys, so when you think of the fighting load, think of what Marines were like storming the beaches of like Iwo Jima with. It's literally the most slicked down version of your gear, and you're only taking the bare essentials to do what it says is to fight. And in the TNR manual, it even goes over like commanders should strive to keep the fighting load as slick as possible, because they can change what goes in it if you're going to add anything to it. That is what the fighting load is. It should be the slickest amount of gear that you can possibly carry to conduct actions on the objective. All right, so now we're going to get into the core components of what's actually in the fighting load, and maybe some tips and tricks on how to wear it and how to use the gear. The first thing we're going to do is hit protective equipment. All right, guys, what we have right here is the Marine Corps issued helmet. I do run a Ops Corps helmet because it's what my company has issued to me.
I'm running the standard issue Gentex that you see the rest of the Marine Corps using. The difference, I mean, if you understand the difference between the headgear, it's quite literally a high cut, all the same. It's just a little bit of variation in size and rail covers.
Yeah, and it's going to add a little bit of protection to the back. That's something that I didn't really like the issued helmets. I was issued some soft armor like as a pad, and I used to run that on the back. I just don't like how high the back cut for the issued helmet is. So that's why I'm glad my company lets me run an actual Ops Corps fast helmet.
Right. Mine, I mean, again, the Gentex one, they are similar. It's just, again, the back cut, it does go further down. If you Google, I mean, I'll put B-roll pictures up, but there's a clear difference in the length and what covers the back of your head.
Yep.
So, which doesn't make a difference if you're getting shrapnel back there.
So just real quick, some tips and tricks, because a lot of guys now are running Peltors. I specifically run Comtac 5s because it's just an easier setup for me with like the push to talk. I do have a pair of Comtac 6s. If the Marine Corps would speed up the process and acquiring Comtac 6 push to talks, I would definitely run those. It's just right now the compatibility isn't there, so I'm running Comtac 5s. A few tips and tricks with managing cables, because this is something that really gets on my nerves when I see dudes have the Comtac 5 cable just going crazy or it's just dangling down. You can get a boot band, bungee, a rubber band, whatever you want. You can loop it around the actual knobs on the Peltors, and that gives you a pretty good tool to stow the cable for the Peltors. So then when you want to use them, you just pull down real quick and the cable's free to go. Also, when dudes are storing their helmets. This is another big thing is when they're running the comm-enabled ones, they will run them with like the microphone just out. And what this does is in transport, it definitely can mess up your Peltor. So by the time you get to the training area, by the time you fly out to a different country, whatever, your microphone will be messed up, and then you have to get a different pair of Peltors, or you just can't use those Peltors. And that can be an issue, as we know, with not being able to run the comm setup you rehearsed with.
Right. And I've noticed with the same thing, I'm running the Comtech 6s. At the time, both of us both used them. And if you know a little bit about them, there's a button on the back here that you can connect with a local proximity chat. It's actually kind of useful. We had a little bit of problems with it, with like interference, but when it did work, it was actually kind of nice because we could be off comms, off push to talk with the radio and just locally talk. And it was like maybe like 15 meters or something, but it was pretty good on ranges. Yep. We didn't really use it much past that.
Yeah, a few combat instructors out there, like, I mean, running a line, like getting privates or just lance corporals through like drills and stuff, it was really easy to be able to talk to a guy on the other side, maybe at the ammo table, like, hey, man, need to line these guys out, whatever. It was a really good piece of gear for us to just be able to talk. But again, that's just because we wanted to spend the money and just have that ability. One thing that we kind of looked over, probably because we're just used to it, is the helmet cover. This is something that was standard SOP for us. It's standard SOP for me now. Guys have to run a helmet cover, and that's because the slickness and the shine that the issued helmets come with.
We both run like a netting and jute and like a little bit of a cover. I mean, I have a like an old like army camo cover that's really faded and spray painted, but I have that mixed in with jute. And like you've seen before, if you watched our previous video on the Cobra hood, adding that little bit amount of jute and tie-ons might fucking save your life. So
yeah, again, like that does go back to the Cobra hood video. If your unit is specifically doing something like a Neo, the helmet cover allows you to be able to take it off, be slick, because maybe you want that presence in the field. What the helmet cover is going to allow you to do is just essentially what it is, just camouflage your helmet if the need arises. For guys that have to run a slick helmet, maybe based on their job, that's when the Cobra hood does come in play, because then you can just throw the hood over your slick helmet and then have that camouflage there. Also, the helmet cover gives you a way to route that cable for your Peltors underneath the helmet cover. So this is what we're running with plate carriers. The plate carrier, obviously, is going to protect your vital organs, things that you can't necessarily fix in the field with TCCC. It's just things that you can like stop the bleed in the cavity, and that's about it. So that's why we run plates and we run soft armor in the Marine Corps. You can't fix these issues in the field unless you're doing like field surgery. And a lot of us, 99% of us, are not qualified to do that. So that's why we run plates. I think according to the TNR manual, it says that you have to run 3 magazine pouches. The issued magazine pouches allow for 2 magazines. It also makes sure that you're running 2 grenade pouches and a dump pouch. I'm not sure if it hits the belt or not. I like to run most of my gear on my plate carrier anyway, and the belt is more like supplementary gear. It also makes sure that in the fighting load, it says in the TNR manual that we have to wear soft armor. This is something I've seen a lot of guys like try and get around not wearing soft armor. I definitely think it's a protection thing from fragmentation. Like you see, there's tons of videos on YouTube, on Telegram, wherever, of dudes just walking in a trench and there's an explosion next to him. And like I saw a video yesterday of fragmentation going right underneath the guy's armpit. And if he would have soft armor like in the vicinity of that, that might not have happened because it's such a large piece of fragmentation.
Another point to the soft armor is some of the NIJ ratings do require the soft armor or trauma pad behind the actual plate itself to be included in the rating.
I think it's a good system, man. It's the soft armor behind it definitely adds one to the just overall protection, and it's also just going to add increased protection against that fragmentation. One suggestion I'd recommend, and you're probably going to get, most of the video is going to be centered around the plate carrier because it's probably the biggest piece of gear we wear all the time, especially in the fighting load, is one pet peeve of mine was the ability for your plate carrier to just always be able to accept side plates. This is something I think should be more prevalent in the infantry, because I've seen plenty of dudes, they're running like elastic cummerbunds in training. They're on a deployment. Hey, throw side armor on, and then they're fucked.
And they're like, well, I didn't bring that. I don't have that.
They either didn't bring it, or their plate carrier, the way they have it set up, doesn't allow them to run side armor, which I have seen. And I've literally also seen dudes duct tape their side armor to their cummerbunds, and that is 100% not good to go. So I'd recommend, and I don't think we instituted it as SOP, But I used to just run my side plates totally empty, but I would just run the side plates just so I knew that it was there and it was comfortable. And also, like, I mean, you could call it a comfort-based decision or not, but I definitely think that that's a good tool you can use to just get used to training in the gear.
Right. If you want to feel better about yourself and you're running no plates, you can still run the actual 3A armor on the inside. That would actually defeat shrapnel. So maybe not everyone's running the actual hard plate, but you still have it ready to go and it's running the actual soft plate, which is kind of what we did anyway.
Yeah, and I think the Marine Corps right now is kind of just in a weird place where I definitely see it in the Army. They do a lot of training not in plate carriers. They do a lot of their training in chest rigs. I feel like that's unrealistic. If you look at right now, the two biggest conflicts going on, Ukraine and Israel, it's two totally different styles of warfare, but they're both like wearing large pieces of armor. Ukraine, they're in trench style warfare. They're wearing like battle skirts. We can put a
now
link
wearing
to video
like
in that.
crotch armor.
Yes.
I mean, they're wearing shoulder armor.
And people say the Marine Corps is supposed to be like light infantry. Relative to what Ukraine and Israel are wearing right now, this is still light. They're wearing upwards to like 70 pounds of like hard plates and soft armor. So I definitely think that people might have their opinion skewed based on training isms, but the plate carrier is definitely something that we should be wearing. You should be utilizing more in your training if you're not already. Yes, going into just how we have our plate carrier set up to meet these specifics of the fighting load. Our fighting load can accept 7 mags. That's something that it specifies in the fighting load SOP itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front for me. I have 1 in the side, and then I have 2 on my belt, and then I can put 1 in the gun. So that pluses me up to 8 magazines. I like to just run extra because I don't ever want to be caught with my pants down, if that makes any sense.
Right. I've got a mirrored rig here. This is in Ranger Green just to show just a different color palette for people that aren't Marine Corps. But I don't have multicam, or sorry. But same deal. We're running the Shaw inserts here in their placard with 4 across the front of the chest. We're both medium plates. So if you look at the width in here, it's the same width. 4 mags all the way across. It's a little tight, but once you start actually pushing them in and out and utilizing them, they start loosening up, and you can tighten them again with bungees. But they fit the width of your actual SAPI. So it's not like you're overhanging off the chest by like 4 or 5 inches. It's quite literally the width. So it takes up no more space. And if anything, now you have 4 ready to go on your fucking front. Run radio, another mag on the side, and then we both have the Shaw plate carrier pack. It's just a perfect size. I don't know how else. I've tried the Haley. I've tried other one. It just works.
Yep. And
it's just good.
Where this fits into your fighting load is you're required to carry 3 liters of water or a Camelback. And this piece of gear right here is perfect for carrying 3 liters of water, excess magazines, excess grenades. I have 2 extra grenade pouches mollied onto the side, extra mag pouch. On the inside, I have 2 extra mag pouches for like smokes, pyro, anything. That's where being like in the team leader billet, squad leader billet, you are going to get thrown some pyrotechnics that you're just not used to carrying. So the back panel is really good for carrying extra stuff like extra magazines, extra grenades. I have 2 on the side for grenades, 1 on the side for magazine. And you can also just put pyro in there. Something as a team leader, you're going to have pyro, so you got to be able to put that somewhere. Your automatic rifleman, you're supposed to carry 22 magazines per the TNR manual. Not sure where you're putting that. If
put it in the hydration pouch.
Yeah, if you don't have an assault pack. And the awesome thing about this is just the ability to access it yourself, because I don't have to call my rifleman or my A/ over to come grab magazines for me. I can quickly unclip this, grab what I need out of it, and then go. And also just works really good as a standalone pack. And you're not going to also get away from running the assault pack. Like I would still make my dudes bring the issued one, because there are going to be times, like we'll talk about in another video, where you have to bring your full assault load. And a lot of Marines, when they hear assault load, they don't think about in the TNR manual, it says you have to bring your E-tool with you and a full assault pack. Yeah. And obviously we're not running an E-tool on here. So if we're ever required to bring our actual assault load, you're going to have to bring the issued assault pack or some variant of that. Right. But moving on, also, we talked about magazines, grenades. Your assault load, you have to be able to carry at least 2 grenades per the fighting load in the TNR manual. So I have one up here. I can't remember what type of pouch it is. I just wanted one that was a little smaller. Also on my fighting load, I have another one on my hip and then another one on a drop leg holster, also from Shock Concepts. Peer-to-peer war, trench warfare, whatever, urban warfare, we've seen that grenades are the shit. So
I mean, they take bags of them. I don't know.
Yes,
I mean,
like
there's some videos out there.
There's a video out there of
like
one dude,
15 grenades
yeah,
or something like that.
14, 16 grenades like within 30 minutes. I personally, you know, I'm going to try and carry as many grenades as they'll give me. So I make sure I have plenty of grenade pouches for that. So just on my fighting load, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I guess if I got any excess of 5, I'm shoving those in cargo pockets. I don't really know.
I don't trust that. But yeah, definitely carry as many as you can.
Yeah, and then for team leaders, again, we both run radios. I have a radio pouch. It's good for like the 163 because they get really hot. I also have another pouch for like a GPS system that I like to keep underneath my cummerbunds. The front, again, team leaders, you're going to be carrying extra stuff. It's just extra batteries and then like a map and then note-taking gear, obviously. Also, cable routing. The nice thing about this plate carrier specifically, being able to route a crap ton of cables just everywhere. That's something the Shaw plate carrier does really well. So that's also why I like to run this plate carrier. Also in the fighting load, it mentions your individual first aid kit. Again, a lot of this is going to be SOP dependent on your unit. I think if you have a good gear SOP, everyone's going to be familiar with where everyone's IFAC is because you're already a close team working with each other. I like to run the Faro Concepts
trauma roll.
Their trauma roll. It's so out of the way, but it's so accessible at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's detrimental that like you have medical that you can pull away and physically look at in your hands, because I used to not run any personalized gear. I mean, just how it was. And I would try and get something out of wherever our standard fucking spot was for our IFAC and try to dig through it. And obviously I knew where everything was, but it's still, I'm like half cocked, twisted. Let's say it's on my left, I'm laying on my left. It's problematic. I center now, and like he does, where we center our medical so we can access it from any position. And then it comes with us. Yep. So it can come in, it can go to right to my hand. I can use it in my workspace. And if I need to stow it, then I can stow it again. But I can have it in front of me and work it with it, pull it out, put stuff in it, collect my trash, whatever I'm doing, and put it all back away.
Yeah, and another option to that, like say you don't want the trauma roll, you want something a little bit more accessible. I run this as like an E&E bag right now just because of my current billet. I used to run this as my IFAC. The Shaw drop pouch, perfect use for like a centered IFAC because it has a tube adapter. You can pull it away. Working in vehicles a lot, you're not going to wear a belt. So that was a problem that we ran across is you either molly your IFAC onto your plate carrier and make your plate carrier extremely bulky, or you molly it onto your belt, and then when you're standing in the vehicle, you don't have your belt on. So it was like, where is the IFAC coming from? So this was a great option to keep your plate carrier very slick and also give the ability to just pull it off, and you can work with it in there because we were in and around of vehicles a lot. So really good piece of gear.
We definitely recommend carrying more medical. I mean,
yes,
I ran technically like 2 IFACs.
Yep.
And then we always had like a third one in proximity.
Yeah.
I just believe having enough medical is worth it in the moment.
Between 4 people, we ran like a CLS bag, an extra IFAC, and then everyone had like an IFAC and a half on them at the bare minimum. Like if you have the ability to do it, just why not do it? We were, blessed to be in a vehicle or just have a vehicle with us. So that's why we did that. But I mean, this kind of brings us back to tourniquets. I'm not sure if the fighting load mentions it specifically in the TNR manual, but running just 2 tourniquets, I'm good, man. I got 4 limbs. I'm going to run at least 4 tourniquets.
Yeah. I don't even if you're doing, I don't know if you've ever seen the Ranger medic handbook, but like doubling up on one to equate. I'm just saying that you need to run more than 2. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like SIF should issue you like 8, but whatever.
Maybe it's a unit thing. Maybe it's like,
I don't know,
a give a fuck type thing. I don't know.
Wait till we go back to war.
Yes. I don't want to die, so I'm going to run 6 tourniquets if I feel like it. So
World War III is definitely going to show we need more tourniquets.
Hopefully nobody's telling you can't run more than 2 tourniquets.
And also don't zip tie your tourniquet if you're not tracking, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead and look up a video of zip tie tourniquet. That's really sad.
So yeah, what we got right here are our personal weapon systems. Obviously, we don't have our issued weapon systems, but we do. These weapons resemble what we have at work: M4s, M27s, the SCO and RCO. This is a 1:8 first focal plane optic, just like the SCO is. That's a standard 4x RCO. He just has the added RMR on the top, which honestly goated. I think
I did. I don't know if it was 100% allowed, but I did run an RMR attachment on top of my RCO that did clamp down, and I thought it was the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Just saying, it was very nice during fire team attacks.
Yeah, it's all shooter preference, but like it's a good system.
I think it should be.
Yeah,
the SOP.
I think so too. And then my personal, I don't have night vision like he does, but he does run a PEC 15, and then a suppressor. So two other things very similar to what we use at work. Probably I'd say the biggest thing with this is because a lot of times we can't choose what weapon system we're running with. I know that the HK416, the M27 is a very bulky build. What I will say is, like, in your off time and your training, if you're invested in your job, try and build a gun similar to what you use at work. So I have two builds. One resembles like an M4 RCO style build, and then one resembles like as close to an M27 as I can get. I can't spend $4,000 on a rifle. Yeah, unlike some people. But yeah, if you're gonna invest in your craft, I mean, this is definitely something you could do. The one thing I will say to this is make sure you have a cleaning kit for the rifle that you have at work that actually makes sense. So this is in your fighting load, I believe. I'm not gonna say I believe. This is in your fighting load in the TNR manual, having a cleaning kit. And a lot of people, they just take what they got issued. There's some validity to what the issued cleaning kit is, but I would recommend just kind of building your own. That way you know what's in there. And again, having something that is for the guns that you run. So I run obviously an M4, M27 at work. Having punch rods at the top is something that I've seen be a necessity. I've been in the field before and had a squib in my rifle, or just have some type of blockage in my rifle.
Actually.
Yep, a couple times. I don't know. It's like a curse for me. Having punch rods on hand and at the top of your cleaning kit is, I think, should be a necessity, because being able to get your gun back in the fight is pertinent to survival. Not everyone's fortunate enough to run a sidearm, and also pistols suck anyway. So in real warfare, another good tool, just a lens cleaning kit, something I use. Optics do get dirty. One brush, you don't need 6 brushes, even though I have another brush. Bore snakes. Bore snakes are really good for field maintenance. So once you know that there's no obstructions to your barrel and you're doing field maintenance for your rifle, make sure your barrel is clean on the inside, your bore's clean. I run 2 because I do run a rifle and a pistol at work. This is something that I'm not sure if it is even.
What is it?
So this is something I run at home on the range, never at work. Is the ability to get my bolts back in the fight at the range if I wanted to. Yes, at the range in Minecraft.
Carrying an extra bolt.
Yep.
In case it breaks on the range personally.
In Minecraft with my own gun.
Yes.
And what I'll say to this is, I do not ever want to be a victim of my own problem. So if I can fix the issue, why not fix the issue? And if I can plus up my bolts because the small parts in there break, the retaining pin breaks, the firing pin breaks, my bolt face chips, my bolt won't seat correctly because there's just an issue with something. I want to be able to fix the problem and not have to rely on an armorer that's
to come out
back
on the range.
Yes, on the range.
Just if you get what we're talking about.
I want to fix my own problem.
Get back in the fight.
Yep. And then CLP, because everyone needs lubrication.
Good.
Yep, so cleaning kit for the gear that you have. And then obviously if you're running crew serve weapons, you should have your A-bag squared away, and those should be good to go.
Yep. Taking it all sexual off. All right.
All right, guys. War belt, battle belt, gun belt, belt. You got, according to the TNR manual, you got to run a belt. It's a standard. Some guys don't prefer to run a belt, which is fine. I see it as it's just supplementary gear that basically, again, I see it as supplementary gear that will enhance my ability to fight. So I like to run extra mags on here. I have like a a speed mag. I have a pistol mag because I do run a pistol at work. I have an extra tourniquet. And then these are like GP pouches. This one specifically is a GP pouch for smoke grenades, TSE, anything like that. A dump pouch because according to the TNR manual, it's supposed to run a dump pouch. And there are people who don't like it. I see it as if I'm going to do tack reload, probably going to reindex that mag. It's more so for the situation where I just don't have the ability to. So through rehearsing for myself, I'm going to reindex the mag. If I have the if I don't have the opportunity to, it's going to the dump pouch.
I don't. If I'm getting shot at and I need to quickly reload, and I throw the fucking mag on the ground, I don't care who starts yelling at me about it. As long as I get my gun back up in the fight, I'll pick it up after.
Yep.
I'll pick it up after. I don't know how many times I've gotten yelled at for dropping it and not stowing it. And then when I go to stow it, it's taking me longer to get my gun back up. So then I just technically would have died.
I know what range you're talking about, dude.
I do know. You know what range I'm talking about. And it's frustrating because it's like, I'd rather just get my gun back up in the fight. Yep. Fuck that $20 piece of fucking gear that I could also replace. But whatever. That's just my opinion.
And again, people run their belts totally different. It's fine. There's not a set way I think you should run your belt. Obviously, like if you have speed mag, your offhand side, and then if you have a dump pouch, probably your offhand side as well. Nods pouch. Again, this is something that some people do differently. Some people think that you should store your nods in your main pack, your assault pack, whatever. I will say from personal experience, you should, regardless of where you put your nods, if you always have your nods on you or the ability to put nods on, that's what's important. So right. They don't necessarily have to be somewhere. They just need to be on you at all times. And they need to be in a protected pouch. Because obviously, we're running dual tubes now for across the Marine Corps. This is something that's important. Having a padded pouch is a necessity because you're buddy rushing in very rocky places, wet places, wherever. You're taking a seat in the bush. Like things are going to happen. So
I've banged up my MGs quite a bit, and I haven't broken them. And I think that's just because of luck. I genuinely don't think that it's because they're impossible to break, because there are accounts, definitely from Ukraine. I've heard a lot of that. Obviously, we're referencing that, but as well as in the Marine Corps of people just shattering their lens or whatever. And I think that's a little bit of negligence, but I think that's also something that I'd rather just be better safe than sorry. And now I can't see at night, and that sucks. So
I mean, I will say I think that if you're going to break it down, 31's probably a little more fragile than the 14s, but I personally have been carrying 31s for probably 3.5 years now and never broken, shattered, and it's been in a padded pouch the whole time. Also, I just haven't been wearing them in the middle of the day like some crazy people.
Yeah, don't wear them during the day.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Next thing, I do run a pistol at work, so when I'm at home, I also run a pistol. It's just the issued M18 holster. This is obviously a Glock holster. When you're issued a sidearm in the infantry, I feel like there's some people that like it, some people don't like it. I see it as like it's just an extra tool to kill somebody. Like my rifle goes down. The Marine Corps is right now going through an issue where like some of the rifles are maybe older, they're getting phased out.
Oh, you mean the purple rifles that we have?
That's like open source information. Cool. We're using older M4s. M4s are old, believe it or not. They do fail, and having a backup to that, I don't see an issue with it. If we're not going to get issued bayonets, give me a pistol, I guess. I don't know.
They did take away bayonets from us.
Yep. And then next thing on there is just extra grenade pouches, man. If I any extra space that I had, I made it where I can throw pyro, grenades, anything. So extra issued grenade pouch, extra weird grenade pouch, like elastic grenade pouch, and that's what I run for my belt, man.
Also, notice they're on the strong side.
Yep.
And also keep in mind when you're pulling your frag, it's not just moving around doing like acrobatics. You're taking it deliberately out with the same hand that you are going to index it with and everything. So just think a little bit where you're putting your gear. You can put frags all over your body, but if that's how you're going to take them and throw them, you're not switching hands a lot. So
for me, it's just like I like to run it. They're almost all in the same area, and it's just ease of access. And Hopefully, I'm throwing a grenade with my right hand, not my left.
I will kill all of us if I throw it with my left.
Yeah.
So they will be on my right.
All right, so that's the belt. We're about to get into like some supplementary gear, like ear pro, eye pro, that kind of stuff. What's crazy is people love to wear eye pro when you're using sesums, you're using simunitions, and you want to know why? It's because someone could shoot your eye out. Crazy thing is people don't ever want to wear eye pro on ranges, and that's just really interesting because they don't want to wear it on a range because nobody's shooting back at them and there's no explosions going on.
Yeah.
But the amount of people in active conflicts right now, they're wearing eye pro, they're wearing gloves. It's because your rifle gets hot, believe it or not, once you shoot more than 30 rounds out of it, and explosions happen. And if you can't see, you can't contribute to the fight. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Just wear your eye pro.
I will say that, and another thing that bugs me, this was SOP for us. It might not be SOP where you're at, and it's fine. It's just the way people like to do things. I made it where my guys were only allowed to wear amber lenses or clear lenses. Unless I said so, they were good to wear the dark lenses, and it's purely because the complexity for some reason of changing lenses at night, it usually doesn't happen. So then you got to do taking his eye pro off at night. Again, not good to go.
I never really found a scenario where I was like, I wish I was only running dark eye pro.
Yeah.
And didn't bring my clear.
I
don't know of a single scenario.
A snowy environment, but then if I'm in a snowy environment, I'm wearing.
I don't know. I've done that, and it was.
I was wearing blacked out goggles.
Yeah.
And even then, I was not. I was wearing blacked out goggles and then clear eye pro underneath.
Yeah.
So
I'd still just bring the clear, and then the amber was nice.
Yep,
there was a bunch of EOD guys that ended up getting us hooked on an amber.
That's where I got the idea from.
Target identification. I mean, we were just sifting through with their class and that they were giving us, and we were just like, oh shit, amber is kind of cool.
Yep,
it actually kind of works. So I don't know, amber or clear. It's kind of our picks.
And then kind of a cheat code, I guess, maybe around some first sergeants is the. I'm very proud of this. Is the dummy cord, the iPro dummy cord. So this is something that I like because guess what? iPro fogs up. It happens when you're training in a well deck and the humidity is 1,000%. Things are going to fog up. So this is definitely something I like because I can pop my Peltors out, drop this down, and it stays on me. Yeah. Because the problem I've seen with dudes is their iPro fogs up. They take it off. It's fine. It's fogging up. You can't see.
They take it off their face and then they put it in their pocket or they're holding it while they're holding the rifle. I mean, this literally just lets you just dangle it. Yep. It starts to clear up the humidity or whatever the hell, or you're wiping it.
Yep.
And then fix it, get it back up, put it back on.
They put it in their cargo pocket, they buddy rush with it, and it breaks.
Snaps
and
right in half.
Then you don't have iPro. Yep. Next thing we're going to move on is the gloves. You would think gloves would be simple. I'd say that there's definitely some specifics that absolutely. I like with gloves and that I think should be standard.
Yes.
So the Marine Corps does have standard issue heat, flame resistant gloves, but they are the biggest piece of dog shit that has ever existed.
The clear.
You wear you wear them on one range and then the fingers are splitting. They're made out of.
So they're like hot. They're like super thick.
They're not conducive to wearing in a hot environment or just like for more than one field op. So my guys, we all bought aftermarket gloves. These are still heat and flame resistant because they have a Kevlar base. A personal preference of mine is just wearing the hard knuckles. I mean, I don't know, just
as long as they're NavMac I like or whatever, and they have that heat resistance. Because again, like I have definitely grabbed many hot 240 barrels.
You get one a year.
Yeah, you get one a year. I heard that from somebody. But yes. So also your rifle heating up, just your handguard. I mean. If you're shooting more than like a mag or two, which you probably will be, the time comes, you might need something that's not going to burn your hand.
Yep.
Because it's kind of hot.
Yep. So if you're going to have gloves, flame resistant gloves, and also just wear them because the more you wear them, the easier it is to use them.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, my hand's so hot. And then you start getting used to it. And you're like, oh, I kind of forgot about this. So,
all right, next portion, again, we got some more miscellaneous gear. We did talk about like the flat pack. Again, we use the Shaw one because it's easy and conducive to being an infantryman. MRE can go in here, field stripped MRE. The field snack's really good because, again, in that fighting load, it includes having some source of food, as in one MRE present. So another good place to put it. Or if you're running the issued hydration pouch, you can fit a field stripped MRE in there. So you just can't reach it yourself, which is, again, why it's a good piece of gear. Gas mask. This is something that is often forgotten when we're training and are fighting an assault load. I'd say probably because this is the shittiest pouch that you can probably have for a gas mask. I wish they had a better pouch.
Yeah, that might be something I invest in later.
Better
pouch.
I've run through a couple of these, maintain the same gas mask, but run through a couple pouches because they just split. They're not made out of good material. Yeah, this is something that we're supposed to be running in our fighting assault loads. Maybe that's something you guys can implement with your teams and your squads. Having the gas mask prepped. So obviously when it's on your hip right here, you can reach in, pull it out, and then put it on how you're supposed to put it on. Having the flap over the front.
Staging your gas mask.
Staging your gas mask, having it prep, PCCs type stuff. So gas mask, again, something that's often forgotten. I hope the Marine Corps invests in a better pouch because it's not even camouflage, it's gray.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I feel like it's an afterthought, but
yep,
whatever.
And then the other thing is just some minor tools. Again, this is the shod drop pouch, whatever. It's my E&E bag. Having a multi-tool is something that every infantryman should have, and this is a great multi-tool just because it allows you to turn it into several. It's a bit driver.
Yeah, it's actually really. It's really
so I can take a lot of things apart and put them back together just with a simple bit set, and it's a really good tool. It's also not going to rust because it's got this, like, I don't even know what you call this coating on here. Really good tool, and if you don't want to run this expensive one, just run a $40 one at the PX. But multi-tool is something that all infantrymen should have on them. Yep. I
saved me so many times.
Yeah, especially if you're out like using guns, how we were. Like if you're not running a multi-tool, you should just be running like a flathead screwdriver or something like that to get those stuck cartridges out. So yeah. So that's everything that's in your fighting load. If you guys have any questions, hit us up. It's pretty bare bones. We might have skimmed over some stuff like socks. I hope you're wearing socks in the field. I hope you're wearing underwear in the field. Buy good socks and underwear. I know Darn Tough, really good socks. I think they even have like warranties on their socks. Underwear, just invest in like a couple really good pairs, like the Under Armour or like Nike Pro style underwear.
I run the spandex shit.
Yep. And
breathable.
Again, you can find all this information, NavMac 3500 44 Delta. It's literally in the first thing in Appendix Echo. And this is the bare bones, the standard of what is in your fighting load. Your commander can obviously change it, make changes to it. Your platoon commander can make changes to it. You can, as a small unit leader, obviously at their discretion. Read it and understand it, because when people say things, they mean things. So it's a good standard to have. Incorporates your SOP instead of having a packing list every time you guys go out to the field. Say, hey, we're bringing our fighting load.
Yep.
These are things I'm going to add to it, and that's it. It made us going to the field really simple. I was not pushing out packing lists every time
we're taking fighting load. We're taking sustainment. Oh, okay. And then I just would put this down, pick this up.
Yep. PCC's very easy tool. So another tip for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just hit us up.